Hello. All right. I have no idea if I'm live. So we're trying something new today. Let's get this more out of the way. Let's see. Maybe that'd be better. Hmm. Oh, shit. All right. Still there? All right. Let's try that. Let's lower this down a little bit. All right. We'll do that. All right. We're trying a few different things here today. Let's see if anyone can hear me. I may eventually edit this into something usable. I don't know. But we're just going to have some fun tonight. Let's see. Yep, I'm live. Okay. All right, cool. So, what we're going to do today is just real quick. Well, not real quick. I don't know how quick it'll be. But we're going to check out we're going to do some Golden Age comic repair. So hopefully you all enjoy that. We're going to give it a shot. We're trying something a little different. We're using OBS, multiple camera angles. I got to move my keyboard out of the way. You know what? I wonder if I can set it up there. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay. So first off, we'll start off with a quick little comic haul. If anyone's in the chat, just let me know. Say something. I don't know. Let's see. Okay. All right. Hi to everyone who's here tonight. Probably nobody here yet. We're just going to do a quick comic unboxing or opening or whatever. I just got some books. Okay, I got 2 books. I'm super duper excited. I got let's just show them off. Here's the first one. 2 Golden Age books I'm super happy to have. Here's the first one. You know what? We can do this little camera setup real quick. Let's see. Let's see if we can do this. Let's try this. Hey. What's up, folks? Look at that. You can tell we've got a nice little setup here. We're going to be doing some work on some books. So first book up is this Captain Science. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? This is number 3. So I've been after this book for a long time. I've been wanting to work on my Captain Science run. What's it saying? Warning. What's this warning? Oh, I don't know. So working on my Captain Science run. This is one of the hardest books to get in the run because it has this obviously bondage cover. She's strapped to the front of the plane. It's getting shot down by these futuristic kind of UFO type planes. So very cool stuff. So excited to get this. I can't explain to you how excited I am to get this. So Captain Science, as you can see by my shirt, is a run that I've enjoyed for quite some time. I didn't have a lot of these issues until recently. In fact, I kind of considered this run to be a run that was probably going to be a little bit out of my reach. And then I ended up getting this number, I don't want to say 5 or so, but it's like the last one in the run, I think, or 7 maybe. And anyway, it's pretty awesome. So I got that book, and then and that's the hardest. That is the hardest book to get. And I started thinking, you know what? I wonder if maybe 2024 is my year, and I'll be able to hunt down the rest of these. So here it is, number 3. Super pleased to have that. This one has already had some work done on it. It's got a glued spine. This one is in rough shape, but we're not crying about it. We're going to keep it, and we're super happy to have it. Now this next book, I don't even know how to begin. Excuse my beer. I didn't know how to begin to talk about this one. It is one of my favorite covers in the run, probably my second or third favorite cover in the run. These are my 3 favorites here. The rest I'm going to still pick up. There's one more I really want. But if you can tell by the shirt, I'm a big fan. And there it is. There's Captain Science. Check that out, folks. Captain Science. Reporting for duty. There you go. Look at that. So, very cool stuff. This Captain Science #4. Just didn't expect to get this book ever, honestly. Found it for a super steal. So, what else can I say? So, picked this up. Super, super pleased to get it. And I just can't believe I own this book right now. Like, this is driving me crazy. But the catch to it, of course, to be able to afford it, there's always going to be a small catch. The catch on this one is that it is completely split. So now it's all complete. It's all there. But the entire book, I haven't looked at it yet. I think maybe every wrap. So the entire book, every wrap is split. So that's going to be interesting. I'm going to do a double check, make sure that we're still live. If anyone's in the chat and wants to say hello, let me know. So let me look real. Yep. All right. Looks like we're still live. So good deal. All right. So yeah, that's what's going on here. Super excited to have this book. It's the book on the shirt. Very, very pleased. Okay. So next up, I'm going to crack this open and we're just going to do some casual, a little bit of cleaning, a little bit of, it's already really flat. I think it's been actually pressed. And I wondered, it's very brittle, I'm sure. I mean, for all the pages to be split, it's got to be super brittle. So I wonder if potentially it was brittle and someone pressed it and cracked the spine. That could be. But it already presents beautifully. So we're not going to mess with too much on here. There's a couple of things here, but they're numbers. And like it says 1957, I think, which wouldn't be right. So maybe something going on there. So we'll see. All right. So probably not going to do too much with the actual, cover as far as cleaning goes. I'm going to look at those numbers a little bit and see if there's anything I need to do with it. But probably not going to do much. So you can see there's the old Captain Science. We're working with a wireless mic today, so hopefully everybody can hear me out there. We're going to take a look at this real quick. Put that back there. Whew. Forgive my sweat. This is always hard work. Take a shot of courage, and let's see what we can do. Let's see what kind of damage this book already. Whoa. All right, so I'm going to already have to be real careful with the spine side, because I can see that it truly was completely split all the way across. You can see that. So, okay. So that's something to be alarmed by slightly. I use a magazine board. So yeah, a complete split. Look at that. We'll set that there. Captain Science. Let's just take anything attached. All right, so the cover is definitely completely detached. Oh yeah. How is the staple even still in there? So it still has two staples. Man, this book is destroyed. Just completely destroyed all along the spine. It's definitely been pressed because it is flat as a pancake. But how are the staples still there? That's tripping me out. The fact that the staples are somehow still there and yet they have nothing to hold on to. So let's see if we can get to the centerfold. Ah, all right. So that's what happened. Okay. So the centerfold is still intact and all the other wraps are detached. Whew. Wild stuff. So there is still a centerfold, but super, super difficult to do anything with that. I mean, I'm tempted to more or less leave these wraps just as they are. and just reattach the cover to itself and then see what I can do from there. I mean, I might could pull those staples. Man, this is... This is really tough. I could attempt to redo each one of these wraps. This is tough. That's really tough. I might do each one of these wraps, which would take forever, but might be worth it. See, the other problem is when you do that much on the wraps, you tend to have, you know, it'll thicken that spine a little too much and make it real bulbous because it has so much tape. I mean, you're talking about every single wrap having tape on it, and that's all going to be in one spot. So that could be a little tricky. So for now, we're going to let this be. In fact, we'll probably go ahead and put it back in the board, bag and board. I'm going to take one of these boards out so it's not so tight. So we'll take one board out. And then we're going to load this back in. And we will discuss this and think about it some more for a later date. Maybe today. I don't know. That's the kind of work that's just going to be so long and tedious. I don't know that anyone wants to watch that. But for now, we're going to let that be the way it is. And we're going to take a look at this right here and see if there's anything more. I think that's as low as I can get that to go. So we're going to see if there's anything more on this that we need to do. I don't think that's piece fill. It looks like it's a perfect matchup. That's so crazy. So let's take a look here. We're just going to see how well this lines up. So I take the board. It's a magazine size board, so it's perfect height when you turn it sideways. So, and I just want to see how close that lines up. That's a near complete perfect spine. I see one or two little chips. Now we know that because the staples are still intact, that likely there is one or two pieces of the cover inside the staple as it's attached. So there's probably one or two pieces of the cover in there. So I wouldn't worry about that right now, but later when I decide what I'm going to do with the interior of the book, I may go ahead and pull those staples out and get those little tiny scraps and add them to this. So I will leave the space open for that. And we'll see how that goes. Oh boy. All right. Now, lots of tools and things out there to do this stuff. Like I said, this is going to be more of a down and dirty attempt at this. We're not going real crazy on this. This book is a 0.5. I mean, because all the splits. Even if I was somehow able to tape it all up completely, I don't know that it would ever raise above a 0.5. I might could get this to a 1. Actually, I had a book. What book was it that was completely split? I'm trying to think. I have a book up here that was completely split and I did this with. I don't think I can remember what book it was. But it went from a 0.5 or what would be normally considered to be a 0.5, and I think I got a 1.0 or a 1.5 on it. So it can be done. This is going to be tough. All right. So in the meantime, we're just going to kind of fold these back over. So I'm taking like little tiny, runs at it. It would definitely be better to not be using a knife, if you will, but I'm not using the blade edge. I'm using the flat edge. And I just want to see just how brittle we're talking here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's probably not going to stay. We'll have to really play with this. Wow. Unbelievable. So what I usually do first is I look for a spot. I just wanted to see how brittle that was. But I look for a spot that matches up perfect and is one seal. So something that doesn't have a gap. And when I find that one piece that doesn't have a gap, like there's right, it's usually by the staples. So that there's a spot right there that is still supple enough to fold over. Doesn't have, after I reattach it, it won't have a gap of any kind. So we're going to take a small piece of this tape and we're gonna do an extra large section of it as far as, you know, miniature stuff goes. So this right here is the document repair tape. This is, you know, what everybody pretty much uses this stuff for this type of kind of amateurish type restoration. I'm not a professional restoration guy. You can go out there and do that. And if you have a book that needs that kind of restoration, I recommend you take it to a professional. But if you're just doing some down and dirty resto like we're doing here, and technically this is actually conservation, because tape is considered an approved method of conservation, not restoration. So this would get a blue label, not purple. So we're going to line that up. And use this just to hold it down so we can see, make sure we have it all lined up. Because we don't want to overlap it, because if you overlap it even, oh, that's perfect. If you overlap it, oh, son of a bitch. If you overlap it just even a small amount, then the rest of the cover won't be right. So you kind of want to hold it down. Make sure you're even. That looks about freaking perfect. Okay. So you put that, and like I said, that's kind of an extra large piece. The rest of the pieces won't be that big, but that gives me kind of a starting point to work from. I can always slice it, remove it, and redo it later. But that gives me a place kind of to begin my work. Now, there are lots of restoration channels out there and golden age experts, if you will, who think that tape is just the worst thing you can do to a book. They think it's absurd that I do this. I've had conversations with them. They plead with me not to do this. They hate tape on books. Now, I understand the old tape. Yeah, you don't want that stuff on your book. But this new stuff is great, and it's document safe, and it's archival grade, so it's not going to add a bunch of acid to your book or anything like that. It's not going to mess your book up. I got to turn on a fan, folks. I'm over here sweating. Whew. Hey. And again, don't be surprised if this gets edited down and completely changed into something else. Or I just might frickin' nuke it. This frickin' fly coming around here. I'm about to set the whole place on fire. Alright, let's keep trying. What's going on? Las Cruces and Perry, Kenneth, good to see you. Alright, so let's see what we can do here. We're going to do a little bit more. I don't expect this to be riveting YouTube entertainment, so no worries. Somebody has something better to do. I was going to be doing this anyway, so I thought nobody was live that I saw other than some other types of things going on, but nobody doing any like comic stuff like this. So I was like, you know what? I'll just go live and see if anybody wants to watch me do this and talk. And I can tell you, it's not going well, because these little tiny pieces, and I just lost another piece, they're so small. Like, they're like the size of a hair, some of them. And sometimes I will, like I'm doing right now, if there are pieces that are so far gone that they're just basically going to break up. What's up, Kevin? I'll go ahead and remove them, because they're not going to impact the book significantly, and yet they're going to drive me crazy. So there's a nice big piece there that we can keep. No, let's take it. So we'll remove a couple of these little pieces that are too brittle to fool with. Take those off. So I'm using OBS for this, in case anybody is wondering or cares. Just as a tester, I used to use OBS for these types of things, and I hadn't in a long time. So, all right. All right. Now these were even split, so we should be able to line that straight up to there. Yep. It's a perfect spot. And then start applying some of our tape. All right. Another thing I'll do is I take this, cut this piece off, and if there's a trouble spot, I'll put it underneath the book like that when I do these long pieces of tape, and that way if any tape's on the other side doesn't stick to it. So I've done videos like this in the past. If anybody wants to go back and see some of those, you're welcome to go play. Like I said, not the most entertaining stuff ever, but a lot of people have never seen anybody do this. So I just do it. And I like to encourage people not to be afraid of their own books. You know, the value of your book, you know, it's what it means to you. It's what do you want for it? You know, why do you want this book? I encourage people to be less concerned with what the next collector wants to do with the book and more concerned with what you want to do with the book. So if you think the book looks better by doing this, you should do it. If you think the book looks worse and you would never do this, guess what? Don't do it. You know, it's pretty simple to me. Some people get real bent out of shape over taping books, and they just say, oh, if you tape a book, you've ruined the value. What value? To who? And then these same people, and I'm not mentioning any names, you know who you are, and you may comment on this video, so it's no problem. Everybody enjoy it the way they want to. But a lot of these same people, they turn around and then slap the book anyway. It's like, what are you doing? You know, you want to, that book has to be perfectly kept in the way it originally was. Okay, then. Then what are you going to do with it? You're going to stick it in a slab. You're never going to read it. You're never going to see the interior again. You know, some even dare to argue it's no longer a comic book. I didn't do a good job on that one. Well, still looks pretty good on the outside. So, you know, at that point, it's like, look, everybody enjoy it the way you want to enjoy it. Don't get all bent out of shape about how the book isn't the way you wish it was. You're never going to own this book. None of you are getting my book. And the person who does get it someday down the road, maybe they'll be happy it's got a little tape on it. And you know what else? If you think this book is worth less, then that person who really just wants this as a cover buy anyway, they're going to be happy because it should go for less, right? If you really believe that. The fact is, I think most people who rile against tape and conservation and all that stuff, then they send their book off to some expert to get frickin' washed. You know, there's guys out there washing books, wet cleaning Golden Age books, wet cleaning them. And now I've done a little of that. I've dabbled in it, and I'm not against it. I don't hate it. If that's what you want to do with your book, that's fine. But there's several times where I see the results and I'm like, it's faded. It's dull. They should have left it alone. You know, just for the presentation alone. Sometimes I think it looks better without the wash. So, again, that doesn't make me right or them wrong. It just means people collect and enjoy their books in different ways. And this is how I choose to enjoy it. Yeah, Kevin R. says, agree, it's your book, do what you want to do with it. That's right. It's my book. I paid plenty for this book. For the right. This book is from 19... Let's see. Should be right here. 1951. June 1951. There is very little I'm going to do to this book that's going to ruin it beyond the rough life it's already had. I'm going to actually turn this around so I can get a better angle at it. I'm not working so far away. See how that goes. I really wish someone would come in here and murder that fly that's got in here. That's what I get for storm watching. No doors and windows open. Get out of here, fly. Damn. Okay, so this one I purposely went over the edge to make longer because I'm going to do a cut across because I know I won't be able to get it perfect with the tape as it is. So we're going to do a little trim on that. I'm not cutting book, I'm just cutting tape. And I'm contouring to the book so I can get a nice even cut. All right. Hey, Chris, what's going on? Broke because of comics? Yeah, that fly just wants to help. I'm murder that fly. I'm telling you. I'm gonna turn this fan up a little bit. See if I can't blow him right into oblivion. My God. All right. Let's see what we can do with this. Been putting out a few videos here lately. So there's the sealed. Don't bug up. That's what Chad says. Thank you. Appreciate you, Fish Cat. You know the brew helps. All right, so next I'm going to work on the actual cover. You can see this is a mistake I see some amateur, people make, and that's that the book will have a natural way that it wants to lay. So like I could accidentally push this on the other side and it'll mess up. So I got to make sure that it's even. And I see a little spot on this side too that needs to be flipped over. So we're going to work on that. It's very small, but it will complete that red and stop the red from being a little white dot. So we'll do that. I want to inspect this one and see which way it should lay. Looks like this way. Okay. All right, so we have both those done the way that they should be. And now we're going to tape those across. And again, not concerned. I mean, then people will say, oh, you use too much tape. Like I'm supposed to like do a very, very fine amount. I don't get into all that either. I'm not overly economical with my tape either. This doesn't cost that much for the tape. I'm going to murder that fly. It is all over me. Oh, God. So we don't want to use way more than we need. Really what I try and do is stay out of anything with color. So, and that is just a thought that's a small, thanks, Chad. I appreciate it. I think it's a, whatever. I'm not going to get into it. Everybody enjoy your book the way you want to enjoy your book. But I've had discussions, I'm in golden age collecting circles, if you will. And I'm often in discussions with people that are just like, they won't touch their book. They don't want anything to happen to their book. They won't touch their book. And then they'll send it to somebody, pay them $3,000 to touch their book. I mean, just pay them $3,000 to touch their book and do exactly what, and maybe it looks better. To me, washing out the color is the biggest offense because I'm more of an art guy and I'm looking at it and I'm like, man, I want to see that art. It pains me to watch people, decolor the book. But do I go on there, YouTubes and Instagram and say, "Oh, you ruined that book. Oh my gosh." Nope, I don't do that. Instead, I'm like, "Glad you like it. Enjoy your book, brother." Because that's what they want to do to it. And as far as the historical preservation goes, because some people will make that argument as well, they'll say things like, "Oh, well, I'm like, the part of the history of this book is that I own it, and its provenance. It's part of the history of this book is that it passed through my collection, and I don't have any delusions of grandeur when it comes to my collection that everyone's going to say that someday it'll be some sort of provenance collection that everything came from BUBSWORLD. That's not likely to happen, but I know that to me, I'm the most important person that's ever owned this book, because it's mine now. So whatever I choose to do to it, that's up to me, and nobody else gets to decide that, as much as they may want to. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is, I'm not saving this book so that it can end up in someone else's hands and them feel like their collection is superior to mine. I'm only preserving this book to a point where I am pleased with how it looks as part of my collection. Not so that I can be like, "Oh, someday someone's going to thank me for the work I did." And let me tell you something else. A lot of the books that I have purchased over the years have had tape on them. And as a low-grade collector, even though sometimes it's a bit much and the older tape can be rough, I appreciate the fact that had someone not taped the book when they did, so like these books came out in the late 40s, early 50s, right? So if one of those, maybe somebody in the 60s, 10 years later, they taped up the book to preserve it, I'm good with that. Thank you. Because had they not done that, it would have just been a pile of rags by the time it got to me, and I wouldn't have bought it if it was like that. So this is what I'm after, is a nice solid, any piece that could potentially fall off or tear, I'm working on that. It's a pretty solid cover now. Not a whole lot to mess up on it at this point. I'm just checking to see if anything done. Nope, can't be doing anything with that. So there you go. So this is what I do. Then I do a little extra. So as you can imagine, there's a little bit of tape. So you can see that sticking to my hand. Well, if you've ever had a piece of tape, there's lots of ways to stop that, right? So what I do is I use this as absorbing sponge, and I just kind of go over like that. I just kind of dab the tape spots. And what I'm doing is I'm deadening that tape. See, now it's not sticking. Look at that. So the point of this is to stop the tape from really being active anymore in the spots that are exposed. And you can hear it when it quits. Like now there's no glue left on there because this took all the glue off. So that's what I'm doing. I'm removing the glue from this side of the tape. That way it won't, otherwise it could potentially stick to the bag, right? Like I put it in the bag and there's a piece of exposed tape. Now I've seen other people, look at that, clean. No, doesn't stick to nothing. It's super clean. So what I've seen other people do is they will put more tape on the outside of the book. And that's one thing. I've done it when I first started. I did it to a few books, but I'll probably never do it again. And that's to put an extra piece of tape on the outside of the spine just to hold it in tight. But this stuff is remarkably strong. And if you put it in a press, it near disappears. Like it almost becomes totally undetectable after you press a book. So I just do this to destroy the tape. Glue. Oh, I almost got him that time. This son of a bitch, prick, fly bastard, you. Oh, this is going to be a classic stream, folks. Bubs versus the fly. Who will win? So I do that. I get as much as I can. Broke cause a comic says, you must be sweating, honey. Thanks. Oh, wait. I think you're saying I must be sweating honey. And that's why the fly's all over. Yeah, that's probably it. Some people might say I'm full of something else, and that's what's attracting the fly. I'm sure that that's going to be said in the comments at some point. I probably beat them to it, and they didn't watch this long. So there you go. All right. A little bit more on that one. Man, that's feeling good, though. Slick. Slicker than snot. That book is now Bubblicious. Yeah, isn't it beautiful, Craig? I think it's beautiful. I love it. I decided to go with OBS, hoping that the stream quality is a little better than the StreamYard. Because StreamYard is only 720p. I'm pretty sure this is going to be 1080p 60, so, or should be. I don't know if YouTube will let you stream in 60 or not, but I know they let you stream in 1080, so hopefully it is. Oh yeah, beautiful stuff, isn't it? So since it's mentioned in the chat, Kevin R is talking about loving this Joe Orlando Wally Wood collaboration, which are some of my favorites as well. I'll show you the signature on that down here. You can see it says OW. So that's Orlando/Wood, right? So that's how they did it. OW, Orlando Wood. So that's how it's officially listed. So, but yes, some of my favorite stuff is the Wally Wood, Joe Orlando combinations. And in case you're wondering who did what, Joe Orlando is always doing the aliens. That's a Joe Orlando alien if I ever saw one. He always makes that big bulbous head. I've got plenty of comics by him that have that. And the rest, more or less, is Wally Wood. So he does the alien. He'll do a little bit of background stuff. Usually foreground characters are done by Wood. So like these would be probably Wally Wood characters. And then that would be Joe Orlando. And then one or the both of them work together to construct a spaceship. All right, folks. That is neato. What's up, Jag? So you can see how that folds back over. Looks pretty good, I think. I'm going to tap it down just a little bit. So now we have a non-split cover. I'm not going to get into this right now. This is going to be a whole nother project to secure each and every one of those wraps. And the reason that I think it's going to be so daunting is because it has the potential. First of all, it's super brittle. And then also it also has the potential that it could probably, not just potential, I believe that it'll be very difficult to line up each and every one of these wraps so perfectly as they are right now and it not be all kind of bubbled up on the edge. So I don't want that to happen. So for right now, not probably forever, we'll save it for another video. We're just going to tuck those in there right like that. Give it a little tap, tap, taparoo. Make sure it's nice and neat. Again, a clean book. No issues. I'm thinking about removing that right there. I might hit it with just a little bit of absorbing and see what happens. Oh, yeah. Oh, the whole cover is coming to life with this absorbing. All right. I'm going to hit it with a little bit of this just to get some of that off. Oh man, that was a big piece. All right, sometimes I'll fold it like that and just use kind of the corner. Oh wow, that yellow is starting to pop, folks. I try to use mostly dry methods. I know how to wet clean. I don't practice it very often, so if I did, I'd probably take up on a smaller book. And I don't do as much of it as I used to. And honestly, every time I wet clean something, I feel like it's lost something. I feel like it loses some of its kind of beauty in the wet cleaning because it really fades the colors. And very rarely do I see it done in a way where it doesn't fade the colors. So I'm gonna do a little bit of this. And on the lighter portions, take a little extra time on it. So down here where it says vampires, truth or fiction. One of my favorite thing is vampires, when they mention vampires on the cover. Because it almost always is in reference to something that's not a vampire in the golden age. So they'll be like vampires, and then they show you an alien. It's like so you can see this bar here that was fresh, and that all came off the book from there, from this edge corner down, and then I would use that was already an old one, but that was a fresh bar. So you can see a little bit come off there. Then you always got to have the old Mr. Red brush here. Make sure that there's no additional debris. So the chat saying Captain Science 4 from 1951. Sporting. I don't remember what I said hating today, Circus Days. There you go. Hey, old wolf. Hey, Harry. All right. So there it is. Beauty, Captain Science number 4 from 1951. And I don't think you can deny it's sparkling. It's pretty. It's got some nice sheen left on it. A very nice copy of the book. If it weren't for the complete and utter spine split. We're not going to clean the back cover today. We can save that for another day. This eventually will get sent off to CGC. Because, like I said, I'm not against sending books off to CGC or anything like that. I do it all the time. But what I'm against is when people really go crazy about what I do to the interior of the book that you can't even see. And then they go ahead and send it off to get put encased in solid air. It's like, if you're going to send it off anyway, what do you care? Like, just make it presentable, make it look good, be happy with your book, you know? I mean, that's what I say. Be happy with your book. Do something to your book that makes you happy. Not the next collector. Who's the next collector? Who cares? Well, you're going to be like 100 years old and someone's going to hand this over to somebody and they'll be like, oh, I'm so glad that guy didn't put a piece of tape in this book because I would have hated it. I'm like, come on, get over yourself. Tape the book if you want to tape the book. You're preserving the book. Like, I'm preserving this book in my collection the way I want to see it. And I don't really care what the next collector thinks of it. So, all right, so there it is. Oh, that's a beauty. Ooh, me Reiki. Oh, yeah. I love it. I love it, folks. There you go. It's so nice. All right, so there you go. That's that. We'll go ahead and I don't know how to do this. Hold on here. Ooh, there you go. There it is. Captain Science number 4. From the shirt to the page. There it is. I hope you all appreciated that and enjoyed that. Thanks to everybody who stopped in and played with me on this one. I may go ahead and redo this. Maybe just some music, cut me talking out, and make a little short video about it. And that way everybody can see, you know, the quick version of how all this happens. And so that's it. We'll catch you next time in Bub's World. Remember to read a comic and don't worry what other people think about what you're going to do with it. Bye-bye.